Hello everybody. I'm gonna break the fourth wall just a little bit here, and I just kind of wanted to start this video off by saying that I started writing this video and this script really focusing on what's being discussed on the Life by You Reddit, but it really slowly evolved into me just focusing on one thing, and that is the unlimited floor count as confirmed by Life by You. So I'll save the community video for another time, but I think that what we really need to discuss, or at least what I just feel like discussing, is what unlimited floor limits really means for the scale and playability of Life by You. Now, for those of you new to my channel or just discovering my little corner of the internet, my name is Michael, and I want to welcome you to Sovereign Gaming in Life Sims, the YouTube channel where I build worlds, lots, and share my thoughts on video games in the life simulation gaming space. Today, I will be really taking a look into what unlimited floor counts really means, and I'll also be picking some posts from the Life by You Reddit to really add to my thoughts onto what parts of the community were saying. So that little element has made its way into this video, but it's just really going to focus on the unlimited floor limits and really analyze and open a discussion on what that's actually going to mean in our games going forward. I'll post a link to the Reddit discussion in my description box, but I want to open up this discussion by actually just sharing what some other users have been saying about the unlimited floor count. So with that said, I'm very excited to dive in, and so I'm just going to share this first comment, I guess, made by the Sly Fox. And what they said was, "New video confirms no height limit in building mode, except for our PC limitations. Can't wait to build some skyscrapers." The discussion on Reddit really evolved into speculating on the possibilities of apartments and even speculating a little bit on elevators. Now, I just want to make it clear here that my stance on apartments right now is that if the Paradox Life by You team hasn't explicitly said that apartments were in the game, then I'm personally not expecting it to be in the early access game myself, despite there being some huge clues kind of indicating this, and I have explored some of those clues in prior videos. In some of those videos, you don't even have to go further than the thumbnail. And yeah, so I'm gonna also quote more from this Reddit thread as well, but I just kind of wanted to discuss a little bit about the idea of building skyscrapers. Now, personally, I would love to have the capabilities to make skyscrapers, but I do have to seriously question how realistic this really is in the context of a life simulation video game. So if you build 100 floors, and if your computer can handle it, then I would assume that you need to build out and furnish each of those floors. And this may be where an implied limit exists, as it would be extremely tedious and time consuming to build out each of these floors. Players just simply won't want to take on skyscraper building, as it would exist as a Goliath project, to say the very least. And even if the skyscraper is 40 floors or 30 floors, it's still a lot of building for a player. And this is coming from someone who specifically enjoys building denser urban structures. Now, I don't mean to really shit on the idea a whole lot here, but it's something that I just kind of bring into question, like how realistic this is going to be and whether computers would be able to handle like fully furnished 40 floor buildings or 30 floor buildings or whatever the limit is on your computer. Now, I also want to mention that players would have difficulty filling out a skyscraper with enough functions to make it viable. For example, we don't even know for a fact if several offices can exist within one building or one lot at this time in Life by You. Even if it is confirmed that we can add several offices into one lot as a workspace, or as a workplace, then if every office assumed a floor, then that would mean that players would have to create like 30 different businesses to fill a 30-story office tower, or even half of that. Like if you had every business occupy 2 floors, then you'd still need to create like 15 businesses. That's a lot of job creation, and that's like a lot of work to do to really build out and fully furnish skyscrapers. And who would fill those roles to work those jobs? So this really brings it all back to my original concerns about Life by You, really demanding players to house a workforce population, since all life by you humans are controllable, including your coworkers. And my example of using a 30-story office building also works in reverse as well. Like if you had a 30-story residential tower, where would all of those life by you humans end up working in your world? Like there would have to be some way to really create a job market to employ all of those humans as they become adults or older. Furthermore, not having a floor limit also kind of makes a case for mixed use buildings or lots being needed for this game. So there's really only so much a player can do when trying to create a 30-story office building or a 30-story residential tower without needing to mix its uses at some stage in the construction. For example, placing commercial on the ground floors, such as having like a cafe at the ground floor of a residential tower. Something like that is realistic that we see in everyday life, but this like not having a limit on the floors, and I'm really not complaining about it. I'm just, again, I'm just speculating on what that actually means in its execution of life by you. But like having those kind of mixed uses is something that is reflective of real life and something that would actually help benefit the game in this case, in my opinion. And this also brings into question like the need for parking and how the routing will work for cars. I mean, most taller structures have underground parking or parkade structures, and I have to question where employees within a 30-story office block will park their vehicles, as we've seen street side parking occur. And I know that there are options for your life by you humans to just like put a car into their pockets and keep it moving, but if there is options for to have like a realistic parking gameplay function within the game, then figuring out a way to actually like park those cars under structures and all that would actually make a little bit of sense here. And I'm not too sure if there is routing that exists for those vehicles at this time. Now, don't get me wrong, like I am absolutely flabbergasted that no limits exist for floor levels, but I honestly have to question like if this has been thought out in respect to all of the other gameplay elements we've been told about in Life by You. I also don't think that the Paradox Life by You team intended on making urban gameplay their leading gameplay features, but the fact that they are giving us the capabilities to essentially play the game like a granular city builder game, it leaves a ton of room for discussion, including whether or not elevators would be included. And in my opinion, if there is no limit to your floor count, then yes, they absolutely should be included. I also wanted to share a response in that thread as well. This one was written by Hunting for Pearls. They said the following: "My first thought when we saw apartments mentioned was exactly it. Even when I would try to create make-believe apartment buildings in The Sims 4, it was always low-rise style that looked off. I'm so happy about the no limit. I think even keeping most of the shell empty and placing apartments in random areas on different floors might be an interesting approach. I think that Hunting for Pearls raises a very realistic solution, being that certain parts of the building would have to be hidden in order to make each floor usable for players, sort of like what we saw with the Sims 3 Late Night with the introduction of hidden rooms. It has a lot of Sims 3 Late Night energy to it, and I wouldn't necessarily be mad at certain elements like this from the Sims 3 Late Night making a return here in order to make worlds playable. Another concern that I have with the lack of limitations is whether players' computers will be able to actually handle it. Theoretically, I could recreate the Burj Khalifa from Dubai with 142 floors, so long as my computer could handle it, according to Life by You. But are we now entering a different kind of pay-to-play arena where non-gaming computers are preventing players from playing a video game to its full potential? That is certainly some food for thought that I don't think that a lot of people are discussing at this point in time. It's kind of more so implied, dare I say. Personally, like I have no doubt that I'll be able to have a couple of 30+ floor towers in my world, but this isn't a city building game where I can't control my Sims' lives. This is a life simulation game that has fully built out lives for each individual, and it also allows players an unheard amount of flexibility and customization. Even with my PC gaming laptop, and I'm really not trying to brag here, you guys, but I'm honestly questioning whether or not Life by You would be stable enough to actually run the game that has a couple of 30+ floor towers in its world if I wanted to play in such a way. at the end of the day, like, I am excited that they confirmed what the floor limit is, but I really can't help but regurgitate nearly all of the questions and concerns I've been sharing about the game since March. Ultimately, my newest question now is, like, will the early access Life by You game be able to handle an ambitious player's vision? Will players actually be able to build out those full-on metropolises and have Sims lives, like, live in them in a way that makes sense? And something I just wanted to, like, touch on about the scale of the game here is that right now, as far as I understand it, like, for life stages that are adults and older, there really exists like a 1-to-1 ratio in terms of each adult needing to have a job. And so that really suggests that there is some sort of a real economy system being at play here, and there have been certain like, they've lightly touched upon it in the past, but they've never really discussed, like, whether or not adults and older will need to have jobs or anything of that sort. And I guess that you can have people as jobless, but I have to wonder if that is realistic to have, because I know that even in smaller towns, like, homeless populations are not as prevalent. Again, I could be very wrong there, so if I am, feel free to leave a comment. But you know, I just really wanted to bring up the point here that as far as I understand the game right now, there exists a 1-to-1 ratio in terms of a job needing to be filled by a sim. And I just kind of have to question, you know, how that is going to work at the end of the day. And in the early access version, are businesses going to be able to run because they don't have a cashier filling the position? You get what I'm saying? At this time, I want to hear what you have to think about building in the game and the floor limit being whatever your computer can handle. Do you think that limitless floor counts indicate the presence of apartments or mixed-use buildings? Does the presence of limitless floor counts suggest that the scale of Life by You is designed after real life? And if so, do you think that this necessitates the same logistics of an economy? Or maybe there's another limit that's not being outlined to prevent players' games from crashing with the limitless floors and supposedly, I guess, the limitless amount of lots that you can build. And do you think that urban gameplay will be something that players will pursue in Life by You? I'm very interested to hear what you have to say, so please feel free to comment below with your thoughts. And until next time, I just want to thank you for watching. If you'd like to see more videos like this one, then feel free to like this video and consider subscribing to the Sovereign Gaming and Life Sims YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. Anyways, I just wanted to thank you for watching, and I hope you have yourself a wonderful day.